Today I'll talk about 6 macro technology trends which I envisage will shape our future. Of course, it's not an exhaustive list, but it'll give us an idea where we are heading. But to do that, we've come up with a unique format, and while you guys must be entering the room today, you must have been given these small handouts of cards. Don't throw them away, yeah? They're like extremely precious. You might be able to even auction them on eBay afterwards. I'm not even kidding. So they're like really original pieces of art done by 2 very well-known artists. When the Warki Foundation came to us to say that, hey, Rishi will be doing this, we made an extra effort to actually present this idea to a bunch of young students. When I presented the 6 topics I'll be covering today, it was a lot of young people's interpretation as well, showed in an artistic way what the future would look like. So today, while I'm talking, this will be like a world's first format where after every 2 minutes of conversation, I'll be showing an augmented reality narrative of what the future would look like. So straight away, let's go on to topic number 1. So I want the slides to change. Guys, could you change the slides, please? Okay. So the first topic is ever-connected world. What's going to happen is we will enter an era of ambient computing. If you don't know what that phrase means, is computers will go beyond a format of where you type into it for information. Actually, more than 75% of information you access in future, 2030 and beyond, would be consumed by natural language translation, what you're already seeing with the likes of Echo, but in a completely different scale in all languages. And also vision-based computing, where computers can see and understand the world like humans do, and it can actually give you a lot more information. And you'd say that, why do we need it? Actually, there is a biological deficiency in us that our imagination and our curiosity is way bigger than our vocabulary. So even when you see millions of things in your life every day, you cannot use your vocabulary to describe everything, like a flower or a piece of art or an amazing outfit or a unique chandelier. So you would see a lot more mixture of this ambient computing. And it's not going to be one or the other. It's going to be combined. And I think slowly, this heavy dependence on typing to get information would reduce. We'll also have some sense of a personal device. It will be like an ID. I cannot define the form factor, but it will be some sort of a miniature supercomputer which will unlock everything around you. And also, really, you'll see Internet of Things come to maturity, where customized coffee to car arriving on time to you engaging appointment scheduling, your machines reminding you when to work out, when to eat. All of that stuff would unlock. And finally, some sense of a digital ID connected to blockchain technology, where you would have ownership of your data, which is a very big agenda item right now being considered, but it'll be unfolded as we progress. And I'm predicting there could be a data consortium where we as consumers can contribute to, and also large giant tech companies can transact from blockchain technology. But generally, we are heading towards a world where users would certainly have a lot more control of their data and could even be paid for it. So on that note, I'll show you the artist's interpretation of the first concept, which is an ever-connected world. So could we move to the phone media, please, on the screen. I don't see the signal yet. We are preparing for the future, don't worry. Yeah, thank you. So it should appear on the screens now. I'm seeing the signal here. Just teething issues. It's not reacting still. Okay. Bear with us, guys. These things happen, but it's quite a critical part of the presentation. We have done this before for some reasons, but it's amazing irony, right, when it comes to technology. So we're going to do a slightly old school way, where you'll be able to see my screen if we focus on the camera. It'll slightly subdue the experience, but you get an idea. So here, I'll be pointing at this card, which shows you an artist interpretation of this gentleman sleeping right now in their bed. This whole artwork is in 3D, and he gets a traffic alert. The person wakes up, walks towards outside his house, automatically gets the right temperature for optimum for his requirement, 22.3 degrees centigrade, gets out of his house, automatically gets coffee served to him at the right temperature again, and then you would have his hat served to him, and then the car unlocks with his optimum music being played, and he sets off to his usual day. So this was the first interpretation by the artist of an ever-connected world. So we'll move on with the next topic, which is, could we change the slide again, please? Is a shift in city structures. So we'll also see, which previous speaker spoke about, autonomous driving would come into maturity, and it will not just be restricted to autonomous driving. I mean, we're in a great city of experimentation already. We will see drones. Apparently, Dubai is going to be the world's first city to have drone-based taxis, so drones, and also transit between far-off places to people necessarily will not be restricted to living in cities. So transportation systems like Hyperloop will see more of that. But generally, there'll be this mindset that you don't have to stay in cities anymore, because what is really going to collapse is concept of time. So if you can reach your workplace within 15, 20 minutes, and even if you live like 60, 70, 80 miles away from the city, which is something which is required because it is anticipated the world population to reach almost 10 billion people by 2050. So that's something we have to look at, but cities cannot change their shape overnight. That's why a lot of autonomous driving would help, smart sense of traffic lights would help, and people's preferences and choices would be to live in a lot more greener areas in general. One more factor that will change in our lives is something connected, and it's a bit of a scary topic, but don't be scared of it. It's actually for everybody's benefit, where huge amount of cameras are installed in majority of the world's global cities, and all those cameras have some level of human supervision, observing what's going on, either for sense of traffic flow or sense for crime prevention. And I think we'll have a lot more intelligence in those cameras where whether the police could be in the right place, right time, much faster, or generally, we will have an important part of a hybrid society where human-driven cars and autonomous cars would coexist. So how do you cope with that semi-chaos is not alone just going to be driven by sensors, but some level of AI-based computer vision, which will also impact how city structures are based. So we'll go to next artist interpretation of it. And I'm telling you guys, this would have been a lot more enjoyable if you saw it on this screen. But I guess you'll have to enjoy it in your card. So you'll need to come back 5 more times. So if you focus on this again, please. So what you're noticing here from an artist's point of view, this card automatically, that same person who woke up got into his vehicle. Again, this whole thing comes out in 3D. He and his co-passenger are enjoying. You're seeing they're going through a lot of mountains and forests. So that's depicting that that person lives outside the city. And you eventually reach a lot more crowded urban area where you get off. And that's it. And you get back to work. Important thing to note, like this is just a piece of paper, but it can completely become a storytelling tool. This is also a large part of the future. Thank you. The next prediction is rise of AI. Though AI is a lot more ambient, it's going to be in everything we're talking about, but it's good to emphasize slightly. Artificial intelligence would be in all walks of life, particularly in industrialization, in education, in robotics. But it's not going to be as grim as a lot of people are painting it, like a very dystopian view. It'll actually create a whole new set of opportunities. We will also see some incredible neuron-based engineering. There's an incredible company here already presenting called Emotive, where a person was able to drive a Formula One car just with their mind. So you'll also see a lot more mind-based communication, mind-based manufacturing. There would be certainly in certain industries job losses, but we will see a whole new wave of employment created to actually perfect these AI systems. Because end of the day, AI systems require human intelligence to correct it and support it. And even when internet was born, like many a times in a lot of popular media, we end up blaming the internet for a lot of things, but internet was created by people. And it does benefit overall the society a lot more. So we will also see that AI is nothing like not a separate swimming lane in isolation where all of you would observe and see what's going on with your lives. We'll actually see a whole new wave of people contributing and being paid for it. And it's connected to my first point also, that do you ever get paid for the data you contribute to the internet? A part of those will come together, and we will see like tremendous amount of intelligence comes in. So whether it's healthcare, whether it's manufacturing, whether it's diagnostics, there will be a significant improvement. And I don't think there's this man versus machine thing as much that is predicted is going to happen. Humans are going to carry on doing a lot of human functions, and a lot of the mundane functions, which generally humans don't enjoy, is going to be taken over by robots for efficiency purposes. So we will go back to showing one more artist interpretation of it. I've lost my cameraman. If we could, thank you. You'll have to come 2 more times after this. So here, what we're noticing is, if you can see, there are 2 gentlemen talking about an idea. One is thinking of circles, another thinking of triangles. They combine together, they create this bicycle in 3D space. And while they were doing this, through neuron waves, the same intelligence got transferred to the robot here. It's fascinating how kids came up with these ideas. And it was, the robot mimicked it and created the same bicycle. Thank you. A large factor is creativity in education, major theme of the conference. We will see a lot of intelligence applied to early infant education. I think sometimes hugely underestimated the importance of child development between the age of 1 and 6, and what can be done there. Tremendous amount of focus goes into knowledge and STEM education and all the stuff, which is critical to where the world is going, but actually formation of the human brain, what makes us like smart, legible individuals, that shaping up happens very early in our life. And it's irrespective of choice of profession, whether we go become an engineer, doctor, smuggler, anything. But your brain is a good brain when you learn a certain amount of vocabulary growing up. So again, ambient computing will make a big difference in shaping of that. Also, slightly repeated, but moving forward, creativity will play, development of creativity, development of better human skills will play a bigger role in children's and education development. And some of those actual subject matter topics might be, or checking of homework or things like that might be better. The boring part of teaching could be slightly better handled by AI-generated systems. But actually generation, how do we become better humans? You know, what is the role of human ethics? Does even spiritual development have a role in bringing up children? You know, sometimes when we're talking about children, we often bring our children to be very Indian or very British or very American. How about grow up to be better human beings and think of the world in a lot more united way? We will see a teacher's role become a lot more engaged in empathy, in kindness, in community, all those aspects of development, rather than a very professional outlook that you're going to grow up to be an astronaut or a scientist and all of that. Those choices would evolve when this hybrid of let the humans do the human part really well and the machines do the machines part really well, we will see. And I absolutely a strong believer that at no point in future the role of the teacher disappears. Actually, more people who are in other professions would become teachers, because end of the day, with climate change and many other things, I think the world needs to become more united and think of more existential problems than we sort of think of things as divided and nations and growth and all those things. So on that note, I do have a teacher interpretation of this too. 2 more cards, people, please bear with me.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome His Excellency Sheikh Nahyan bin Mubarak Al Nahyan, Cabinet Minister and Minister for Tolerance of the United Arab Emirates.
So continuing, here is the artist's interpretation, where a very excited student comes out of a corridor, really eager to learn, and a teacher is asking a couple of questions. The teacher is slightly shown as a form which is semi-holographic, semi-real. I'll leave it to your interpretation. And then they're having a lesson of understanding of pyramid. So the student immediately learns the shape and the concept of pyramid, straight away goes to a 3D printer and prints it out, which the student created, and the teacher is applauding, and the student is very excited. So this just shows a combination of importance of relationship, but also importance of science and creativity and merit all put together in this piece of art. So the next point, thank you, is really, really important is genetics. It's a philosophy, but some people believe the inside of the human body, that it's almost a microcosm of the entire universe outside, except we haven't figured it out. It's my philosophy. And genetics will play a very, very big role. So far, in the last few hundred years, everything has been focused on the outside, but actually the human body within has so many answers to so many questions that we just at the beginning of figuring it out. And all the way from early stage, from gene sequencing to precision medicine to actually imagine just by, with your DNA, if you pretty much get the exact medicine you require for your body. Because you may not realize today we are like semi-guinea pigs to pharmaceutical industry in general, because every time you have a paracetamol or any other general drug, 50 milligram, only like 1 or 2 milligrams is actually working on your body. The remainder is wastage and sometimes affects your other organs. So general drug intake would be a lot more minimal. You'll take like 1 or 2 milligrams precisely down to your DNA and ailment, what you need. And that could be brought to you instantly. So, and a lot of interesting companies are already working on this. The company called Global Gene Corp, they are doing a lot of work in the gene sequencing space. There's a company called Regeneron who are doing some interesting work in precision medicine. And another very interesting company in Britain called Oxford Nanopore, who are minimizing in a fastest way how can you take out DNA for instant processing, literally as small as a mobile phone. So incredible work happening there. I'll very quickly, because we're running out of time as well, I'll quickly show you an artist's interpretation. And we're on the second last chapter, people. So you'll notice here, literally from this card, from someone's bracelet, they figured out that that person has a flu, and a medication has been ordered immediately. And pretty much a drone comes out, flies to you, and delivers a medicine. That's all. So literally, if you fall ill, within minutes, a medicine would be delivered to you. Brilliant imagination. The last one is really a personal favorite, and we'll definitely see this almost within 2030, is concept of energy and time. You know, since beginning of time, everything we have been aspiring as humans, all kinds of growth, we're trying to live a bigger life in a smaller amount of time. You know, like what Alexander traveled in, I don't know, a few hundred years ago, we can do it in 2.5 hours today. So continuously, you know, everything we want to do faster, you know, but we'll reach a point that can our brain's cognitive capabilities even handle that anymore? Because there's going to be so much information, we could be somewhere so fast. There's still we've not reached that limit, but still there's a limit between the years what we can do and process. So it might, I mean, there are some interesting research happening by companies like Kernel and Neural Lace to even enhance humans' cognitive capabilities. Without going into the question of ethics, today it's very easy for us to judge that, oh, that's modification of the brain, but if I tell you that any time if a human race ever faces any kind of existential related crisis, and it's a very far off thought that, hey, we've consumed planet's resources and all of that, and only way is we could live in an outside world, we will all unite to enhance our capabilities. But that's a debatable question. But we will also notice that supersonic travel would come into play. We can go from any corner of the world, like within 2 to 3 hours. We will see that inside 15-year cycle. We will see a lot more space travel coming into fruition, where people would be going beyond the boundaries of our own planet and discover outside planets, outside journeys, and probably will help us sometimes get a, we've read so many times, every time an astronaut goes in outer space, they come back to be better thinking humans because they see the whole world in unity as one single planet. So we will see that, and also energy as a source, solar energy would become absolutely the most common source of energy supply. And we will, lastly, generally see a lot more people going down the enlightenment curve. I mean, we are also, as a human race, constantly changing, and we would see generally a rise of spiritualism in the society, how we measure our life, how we measure our time, and is our existence only for economic pursuits or not? Several of those questions are going to be asked when we go through this lifetime. Last piece of demonstration on the art piece, the artist's interpretation of it. Thank you very much. Yeah. So what you're noticing here is this the card with the planets, where this our whole planet comes to life in 3D. And then you're seeing these supersonic jets flying from one corner of the world to another, and they're also going to outer planets. It's a beautiful interpretation. This is one of my favorite. You guys can see yourself in the background. And that is all. Thank you very much. Yeah. No. Please, those cards are here. Enjoy it in your own time. You would love it. My concluding remarks was that sometimes it's very easy to criticize technology, but actually technology is a tool. It's like a pencil. You can write with it, or you can kill somebody with it. But majority of technologists, when they build things, they have the best intentions in mind. So don't blame the technology, blame the intentions. And we ourselves as technology have a very big ethics question to answer, particularly when we're in this AI age. But I can tell you, people are a lot more conscious today on the role of the human and the role of the ethics. And also, I like to remind you all that technology is a major equalizer in the world. A lot of the differences and the parity is being brought. And even on topics of not just equality between rich and the poor, but also, I personally believe, not often spoken about, but even on the topic of gender parity, engineering developments like microwave oven and dishwashers and washing machines have contributed to a more equal society between man and woman than often even government policies. So that is all. Thank you very much.